pretty soon we're going to open this whole thing up, and then we're going to have the umbrellas, and it's going to cool down a little bit. So sorry for the heat. We're working on that. So now it's time for our featured speaker, and we have a tradition here at the GNA. And Leticia, right? Do you know what our tradition is? Have you heard? Has Dorothy told you what our tradition is here that we do with our speaker, our featured speaker?
I hope it's not throw water.
No, we don't throw water, tomatoes or eggs or anything like that. But
water balloons.
We make our featured speaker go all the way to the back. So you have to stand up, walk all the way to the back, way past the exit sign. And who can tell me why we do that? As Leticia walks back there. Yes, Liz.
So we can give her the grand entrance.
That's right. Give Lizzie a big round of applause. So that way, Leticia, you can make that grand entrance. You want to go back there? Wait. Oh, yeah, get to stay back there until we bring you up. And then you're going to run charging in like a bull. Yeah, like a raging bull. Okay, so the story about, this is actually the first time I met Leticia. And the reason why she's speaking here today is because one of my good friends from the Sacramento area, network, Dorothy Fallis, who spoke here, I think it was about 6 weeks ago or so, who was here for that presentation. Awesome person. If you missed that presentation, come see me. It is on YouTube. I can share the link. I can send it to you. She's such an awesome person. And I trust Dorothy. How many of you here have gotten to know, like, and trust Dorothy? And when you trust somebody and you put something out there on the group page, the Northern California GNA Mastermind group page, all 640 of our members, as you were asking, Elizabeth, people respond. Like, hey, I have this great person I work with in your area that would be a great speaker. I'm like, I trust Dorothy. So naturally, I'm going to trust Leticia until she gives me a reason to not trust her, right? But I don't think she's going to do that. And that's why she's here today. So Leticia, she's Leticia Fallis, right? Did I say that correctly? Okay. She's with Avon Products, Inc. And today she'll be discussing building meaningful business relationships. I'm going to read a little bit about her bio, and then we're going to come in like a raging bull, right? So Leticia Fallis is an independent sales representative, senior executive unit leader for Avon. She trains women and men to start their own business. Training includes time management. How important is time management, right? Budgeting, sales, beauty, leadership, networking, party planning. I like that one. Professionalism, goal setting, and teamwork. Her organization sold $1.275 million in 2009 and includes over 450 representatives. So I'm going to ask you all, please stand up and rise to your feet. Please stand up and rise to your feet and give a big warm cheer to Leticia Fallis. Like a bull, yeah! Woo! Give one to GNA. Thank you for being here. It's all yours. You're welcome.
Alright, well thank you everybody for having me here as your guest
It's a
today.
joke.
It's really an honor to meet all of you, and I hope to get to know you better. Okay? I'm going to talk to you today about building meaningful relationships. We'll see how much I use this today. Usually I just talk from the heart. And I'm really honored also to have a special guest here today that I did not expect. I think it's a testament to what I'm going to talk to you about today. Today, my very first mentor is here today to hear me talk, and her name is Denise McKevitt. Denise, thank you for being here today. And I'm actually going to start off a little differently because she is here today. Denise is a true friend. She hired me, I believe, because she saw something great inside of me. How powerful is it for somebody to have belief and faith inside of you when you don't have that faith inside yourself?
Huge.
And I was still in the workplace. I wasn't even an entrepreneur yet. But she brought me in. We worked for a roofing company, so a very male-dominated company. And Denise was the strength of this company. So she really showed me what it is to be a strong woman. I didn't really have a strong female figure in my life. At least not in the professional way. I did have my mother, who was a single mom raising me from the age of 3, who of course had a hard time making ends meet, and so we would have yard sales in order to buy myself new clothes for the new school year. My mother was a social worker by trade, And she injured her back at the age of 35, the age I am today. And so I never got to see her develop her gifts and talents fully and completely. So I thought I was going to do the same thing. I was going to be a social worker. I love working with people. I have a heart for people, especially the elderly. And I thought I would be doing the same thing. I ended up going through retail and doing some other work, and ended up finding one of the coolest jobs I ever had, and that was working with Denise. I worked in an environment where people truly cared about me. And once you get that taste where people genuinely care about you and want you to do well, has anybody had that feeling, by the way, in a regular job? Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
It's pretty rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you are in a work environment where you're getting paid an hourly wage and people genuinely care about your well-being.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, when do you need your day off? Your family's sick? Did you make sure you went ahead and switched hours with that other person? Is somebody going to fill in with you? Can we fill in for you? It's not very heart-centered. But it was really hard for me to leave that job because I love the people so much. But it gave me a glimpse that that environment was possible. And I learned so much from Denise, just how to be a strong woman, she's smart, by the way, highly intelligent and sharp. And she was going to make me the best administrative assistant I could be. So I learned everything that I could from her. I was very open to learning as much as I could from her. How many of you are open to learning as much as you can from somebody before you, right? That's the way to do it. Why is it the way to do it? You want to find a good mentor because it helps you to not have to do it the hard way, right? How many of you knew everything about your business before you got started and it was just easy and you were successful the day after? That was you, right?
Who was that?
That doesn't happen, does it? No. The process is not only a business process, but it's a process about learning about yourself. How many times did I have to overcome my own obstacles? Sometimes I was my biggest obstacle. I thought, you know what, I just can't do this. I don't know if I can recruit one person for my Avon business. How do I even get started talking to somebody? And how am I even going to talk to strangers about my business? Because once I tap out my comfort zone, right, my warm market, how am I going to go and talk to strangers about what I do? And I'm so grateful that I had another woman in my life named Rondell McKenzie who taught me how to do that. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of where I come from. Does anybody know where Gilroy's at?
Garlic!
That's right.
Yeah!
Garlic capital of the world. That's where I was born and raised. In 2001, I got married to a lovely man named Melas, who is not here today, as a courtesy to me because I knew he would make me nervous to have him here watching me talk about our life together. But he's a wonderful man, and he had a home in Los Baños, California. I don't know where that's at. And I was going to have to commute 50 miles each way just to work. Was not looking forward to that at all. My husband did 80 miles each way. We bought a house in Santa Nella in one of the new developments there. You probably see it every time you go through there. We had a 3,300 square foot house with a 4-car garage on an acre. Nobody would come and visit me because it's in the middle of nowhere, dangerous road, right? And we hardly ever saw our home and all the lovely things inside of it. So we decided, after 2 years of lots of stress, that we were done. We were going to be done with this kind of lifestyle, although we were winning. We had this home, we had a rental, we had very nice cars, but we didn't know each other after 2 years. We were newly married. The stressors were too much for us. So we finally looked at each other and said, okay, what are we going to do we never got a chance to do? Not a powerful question.
Yeah.
Has anybody asked yourself that? Because I encourage you to do that, because your life will change when you ask yourself that question. So we looked at each other and said, whatever we wanted to do, we never got a chance to do. Well, we never got a chance to go to college and finish. We had about 2 years of credits, each of us, and had to quit for various reasons. When my mom hurt her back, I had to come back from college and work 3 jobs. Because not only did she hurt her back and lose her job, my dad did too.
Wow.
So that was my reason. So we had just been to Hawaii on vacation. Has anybody been to Hawaii? All right, excellent. Beautiful place. And so we asked each other, so do you think there's actually universities on the islands? And that was a great question to ask ourselves. And yes, there were. So we both applied to 2 universities on 2 different islands, and we both got accepted. And then the doors started to open. We ended up selling everything that wouldn't fit in a 40-foot container, including both our homes, our vehicles, and pretty much everything that was inside this 3,300 square foot house to change our lives around. And then we left for Hawaii to finish our degrees. Now when I got there, I knew nobody. I may look Hawaiian, but I'm not Hawaiian. I went there and it was a culture that was totally different for me and hard to break into. There's a local island lifestyle. It's very relaxed. And going after your goals and dreams is not something they think about. They don't think it's possible because they live on an island. Okay? So talk about difficulty. I had difficulty finding a job despite my gifts and talents. And people would ask me at the interview, so how long do you plan on staying here? Well, of course I didn't know. I just gotten there. So I went through a period of depression and going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? We just bought this house. I need to be able to afford to help contribute to paying our bills. And this is where I learned a lot about building relationships and the power of a mentor. I had decided that I wasn't just going to look at living on the islands as an obstacle for me. This was a beautiful place. I was going to have to make something happen. So I decided to look at my Avon business like a real business. For 2 years, for me in California, it was a hobby. Okay. Think about that. How do you look at your business? Do you look at it as a hobby, especially direct sellers, if there are any direct sellers here? Is it a hobby or is it a business? It really, really changes your mindset when you actually take it seriously like a business. So they say when the student is ready, the mentor appears. That's exactly what happened. My mentor lives in Los Baños, California. I was very blessed. She's Avon's first millionaire out of Los Baños, California.
Wow.
To meet her and know her. She called me and said, Leticia, what do you think of me training you how to be the most successful Avon representative in the state of Hawaii ever? And I said, I am ready. It's a powerful relationship, is it not? If I was willing and she's ready to train me, it was almost impossible that I could not be successful, correct? So for a whole year, Vondell trained me over the phone, 6 hours a week, to train me how to be the most successful Avon representative in the state of Hawaii. Now throughout that time, it was difficult. I needed to learn how people communicated in the islands. I needed to watch and observe how people interact. And how was I going to be a part of that? So in Hawaii, it's all about ohana, okay? It's all about family. So I knew that I had to treat people like they were my family and not just a stranger. So that little switch in my mindset really helped me a lot. If I didn't know Liz, I'd tell myself, this lady is just a friend I haven't met yet. It really helped me to put myself at ease in talking to her and learning more about her. Okay. And talking to strangers is really hard, is it not? Does anybody feel like talking to strangers is super easy? Maybe after a lot of practice.
Depends on the person.
Elias is probably very
I'll talk to anybody. But I've been doing it for a while, so.
You've been doing it for a long time. That's right. And it takes practice. And so she taught me how to go out and present myself and treat people like they were friends I just hadn't met yet. That was crucial. And I'll tell you that she taught me a technique, and I hope that you can use this as well if that's difficult for you. It's called reflection. Let's say, many of you here today, I don't know anything about you yet. But when we talk, I'm going to watch your body language. I'm going to listen to your tone of voice. And I'm going to almost mimic it right back to you. And before we even say a word. Because that will put you and me in a comfort level before we even get started knowing about each other. So use reflection in your business. You want to put people at ease with you? Watch and observe. Don't worry about what you're going to say. How am I going to approach this person? Take it all in, and then use reflection to connect with that person. Okay? So if I am talking to Liz, and she's really bubbly, but she is, okay? Well, hey Liz, how are you doing today? Earlier today we spoke to each other. But if she was quiet, I'd say, hey Liz, how's it going today? Different approach. I need to put this person in a comfort zone around me. So definitely use reflection to help you build a strong relationship. Also, by the way, when I was asked to do this kind of last minute, the next day I started getting a sore throat, so please excuse me. But I want to use that as an example of also respecting other people's time. Okay. I could have called you Elias and said, you know what, I'm really sick, dude, I can't make it, okay. But
I would have come up with something, trust me. No worries.
But I really am a stickler for respecting other people's time. And if I can genuinely get up and have the energy to present, then I will. So remember that if you have an appointment with somebody, you have a party that you're going to do, and let's say you're in direct sales, you're doing a party for a teammate of yours. And she says, I don't have anybody who's going to come. Can we just cancel? You're not going to cancel. You set up that time to be with that person, and you are going to spend that time with that person. Because otherwise, if you don't, it's going to feel like a failure. So respect other people's time. Be encouraging when you get there. This is not a failure. She actually put something into action. And either way, that person and I are going to have a great time. We're going to go ahead and talk about the product anyway. I'll probably do the whole party. And if she's the only winner of the prize, then so be it. But you've got to stay committed to your team, to your appointments, and to yourself. Okay, so that accountability aspect. Okay. So Vondell as a mentor, going back to the mentoring process. Vondell as a mentor spent that time teaching me systems. Now, unless your business already has systems in place that you can follow, it's not going to teach you all the personal stuff. Okay? You can follow a system as long as you want, and you might get results, but it's not going to connect you and show you how to really build a dream. That dream came from my mentor. She helped me to learn how to set goals. Does everybody here know how to set goals? Okay, a good chunk of you. Okay. If you don't know how yet, it's a really intimate and personal thing to set goals. And to actually share that with somebody, even more so. Because a lot of us are afraid to share goals because we don't want somebody to stomp on them. Correct? So she developed a trust and a bond. So Leticia, trust me and let me help you be the best you can be. And so through that time, she committed to me. There was nothing else that I could say about the gift that she gave, other than she taught me the systems that I needed to get going. She was there for me emotionally. Building a business is really hard stuff. Don't you feel like sometimes you're on an emotional roller coaster with your business? Failure, success, all day long sometimes. You don't even know where to stand that day. Well, when you have a really good mentor, a mentor knows how to bring perspective into your life. So when I was having a hard time and called her one of the 100 times that I said I was going to quit. Anybody here say I'm just going to quit?
I think we've all been there. Let's be honest about that.
Please, yeah.
Come on, be honest here. Wake up. Who's ever felt like they want to quit?
Yeah, absolutely. And more than once, you're going to tell yourself, you know what, I'm just going to give up. She was able to look at me and say, Leticia, let's think about this. You know, she would let me tell my story. She's a very good listener. And you want to be a very good listener too, with your clients, your team, anybody you encounter. So she would listen to me, I would tell her what's going on in my business, and she would summarize what I said right back to me to acknowledge that she understood where I was coming from. And then she said, okay, Leticia, are you done? Yes, I'm done. Okay. Just think about where you just came from. Leticia, isn't it true that you have over 100 people in your team? Isn't it true that you have a wonderful husband at home that supports you in your goals and dreams? Isn't it true that people look up to you and admire you for what you do? And I so needed that, because there were several times that I wanted to give up. But to have somebody come from the outside and look at me like I was a shiny diamond or a shiny pearl was necessary for me to evaluate and be grateful for what I did have so that I could move on for better things. And so that emotional aspect, she kept me grounded. Yes, I would have ups and downs, but I knew who my go-to person was. Okay? Denise was my go-to person. Things got too stressful at work. We close the door, spend some time chit-chatting, and we get over it. Move on. She'd help me to get through it. So that powerful mentorship relationship is crucial. So if you do or you don't have that today, how many of you have a mentor or have had a mentor sometime in your life? Good. All of you should have. Okay. Whether it's your boss, whether it's a clergy person, whether it's your friend, your parent, you definitely want to have that positive influence in your life, because that's going to be your rock. That definitely is going to be your rock. And let me tell you, when you're building a business and you're doing it solo, let's say you're a married couple and your husband is working a regular job and you're not. That was my dynamic in my home. I really needed him to be supportive of me. And in order to do that, I needed not to complain about my business. Right? Okay, same thing with my mom. My mom loves me and everything, but I need to not complain about my business. I needed to be able to have a person to go to that I could go ahead and let everything out. The only person who would understand me and understand what I was going through. Because if you're talking to somebody who doesn't know what it is to build a business themselves, they're not necessarily going to understand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into that. So make sure your mentor is the right mentor that you can go to, let your feelings out, and then move on and move forward. Because you need to be positive, do you not? To your family, for yourself. And when you learn to be positive around that group, your customers, your team, you're not going to go and let out all the negativity on your team, right? About anything about your company, right? Or what you're going through, even personal. That has to be said for your mentor. So, excuse me one second. Now I was going to make it through. So I encourage you today to use some of the techniques that I've given you today. We talked about reflection. Talked about connecting yourself with a mentor. Building a powerful relationship of trust with not only your mentor, but those you come and encounter with. The fact that Denise is here today shows that connection here. So thank you, Denise, for coming and supporting me today. And if you need help in your business, I'm so glad that Elias, you mentioned everything you mentioned earlier today about the spirit of this group, because those are things and elements that I try to have in my own business. How can I help you be a better business person? How can I lift you up and tell you that you can do it, because I'll tell you that you can do it. Okay? And if you need help, whether it's in direct sales, or you just need a mentor, or you need a friend to talk to, go to lunch with, I'm here for you, okay? I love friends, having friends. I don't think you can have too many friends, actually. And my goal is to make sure that everyone around me gets a piece of the positive light that I'm able to share with them. So thank you very much for having me here today.
Oh, one comment before this goes. You know, the thing that I like to say is, and tell me your thoughts, is, you know, the first thing to make anything happen is you have to show up. Showing up is the beginning, and once you get there, whatever event it is, whatever it is you're doing, be there for the right reason and participate for the right reason. Don't just come, just say I went there and this and that. Be there because you want to be a part of whatever's happening. That's just my personal opinion.
Absolutely, thank you. You do, you have to be present. And you have to remember it's not about you. I know you're really excited about your business, or you may really think like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, or always asking yourself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to present? Be patient with yourself. Really take some time to observe the great attributes of the people that you meet, because every one of you today, I will say, you know what, I really love this about Lynn, and I'm going to take that with me. I want to adopt that characteristic about him.
Really?
You know, that's what you want to do. You want to be the best human being you can be. And the best way to do that, again, is to take from Denise or anybody that you meet today those important values and make it a part of your life so that you can be the best person, the best business person that you can be to everyone you encounter.
Give her some love, Lynn.
Leticia, thank you. Did she do a great job?
Thank you, that was awesome. Thank you.
She spoke from the heart, and she had a valuable message. And Leticia, the kind of hate on good products, huh?
Yes.
Well, I'm a native Californian. I went through high school in Hawaii and surfed all the time. So
Can you picture Lynn surfing? Yeah!
I'd stay out 5-6 hours at a time. I exercised so much that I burned off every calorie. I was 115 pounds in high school and my ribs showed because I exercised constantly. Well, what happened? Oh, well.
The 4 realtor food groups like you mentioned, right?
Oh yeah, caffeine, sugar, fat, and chocolate.
Yeah.